Sometimes I pick the most random romantasy I have never heard of off of Goodreads to read, and while sometimes you can find a gem doing this, not today. Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we are talking about To Spare an Opal Soul by River something. I have finished this, and I do not know why it is called To Spare an Opal Soul. No soul is spared, there's no opals. So no opals, but what we do have are blatant line ripoffs from the cinematic brilliance that is 2005's Pride and Prejudice. But it's not Mr. Darcy in here, it's Mr. Collins the boiled potatoes guy.
Mr. Collins at your service.
I know we're all yearning for a hand flex moment, but come on now. Even the synopsis of this book is playing on lines from the film. Della Winthrop doesn't have too many things going for her. She's 350 years old, has no wealth of her own, nor potential suitors.
I'm 27 years old. I've no money and no prospects. I'm already a burden to my parents.
Tired of weighing down her parents, to put it bluntly, she is terrified.
And I'm frightened.
Gee, how incredibly familiar. A run-in with a handsome stranger leads to a marriage of convenience, but will it turn out that love was waiting for her all along? In a time of unprecedented peace, the dragon shifters have forgotten their strength and abilities to shift from their human form. As things are finally clicking into place for Della, rumblings of change and chaos echo throughout her world. Will she find love just in time for the winds of peace to change? This would have been okay, like all of it. Even I would have been able to maybe accept the line ripoffs from 2005's Pride and Prejudice, but unfortunately, we don't have a quality story here to justify that. This book drops you in, it barely world builds, and then it ends abruptly the same way that League of Liars by Astrid Schultz did. So you close the book and you're like, what was the point of this? If you're looking for something high quality to keep you going, do yourself a favor and check out today's sponsor, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon is a high protein, high quality, no sugar meal to add the energy you need to get your day going. It's just like the cereals that we all loved as kids, but made with fueling high quality ingredients that make it a great alternative for those of us looking for a lower carb option. Magic Spoon has 4 to 5 net grams of carbs per serving with 0 sugar while still serving 13 to 14 grams of protein. And their bars, which I normally have with me when I'm filming as like if I'm in the middle of this, I normally do this for like several hours. If I need a snack midway, I just end up eating one of these bars. The chocolate peanut butter is definitely my favorite because I need a snack that's going to keep me full, which is what's great about protein is that it is satiating. This is 1 gram of sugar and the bars have 11 to 12 grams of protein. I do really like their bars. Carlos's favorite is the blueberry muffin, but my favorite thing to do in the morning now is to mix together Magic Spoon's chocolate cereal and their peanut butter cereal to make essentially like peanut butter cup cereal. It's like candy, but without, candy. It is the best combination, but there's no artificial ingredients. Magic Spoon fits a variety of diets. It's like a childhood treat, but for grown-ups that's wheat-free and gluten-free, and it's keto-friendly, and it actually tastes good, which is important to me. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to eat it for breakfast every morning. And I'm a person who likes to eat the same thing every single morning. My kids are a huge fan, but I have major trouble sharing. It's mine. Hands off. I said they're childlike treats, not that they're for children all the time. The cereal is super crispy and crunchy, which is important to me. It makes it a great stim food, but packed with all the protein and none of the sugar. Like childhood on a spoon, but with ingredients that us grown-ups are okay with. Click the link in my description and use my code READSWITHRACHEL to try Magic Spoon cereal or treats today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store or on Amazon. Magic Spoon is so confident that you will love the product. It is backed by a 100% happiness guarantee. If you don't like it, no worries. They will give you a refund, no questions asked. Click the link in the description or go to magicspoon.com/readswithrachel to get $5 off of your order, and you can also scan the QR code that is on the screen. And thank you so much to Magic Spoon for sponsoring today's video. So we open and our main character, Della, is being chastised by her mom for what we assume is like the umpteenth time for not finding a match to marry. Single again, Della, her mom says. That's me. Della Annalise Winthrop, perpetually single, at 350 years old, no less. And it says that she is sort of like Good Luck Chuck, that terrible Dane Cook movie, where it's like everybody who meets Della seems to meet the one right after they date Della for like a week. So this book is just like a mishmash of a bunch of movies that you may or may not have seen, which sucks because this had potential. It's not like it couldn't have been done. I mean, we have like Dragon Shifters, and I did like another Dragon Shifter book last year. There were two, I can't remember names of things off the top of my head, but there were two Dragon Shifter books that I read last year. One of them was pretty good, and one of them was like legitimately one of the worst things that I've ever read. I was like, okay, this could go either way, and unfortunately it leaned into the other way. So these people are all dragon shifters, except they can't shift. Nobody has shifted in hundreds of years. The writing in this leaves something to be desired, unfortunately, because I mean, it's like the way that she just introduced herself. That's me, Della Annalise Winthrop, perpetually single. But then she says things like, I would love to move out and just be on my own, but I lack the funds and skills needed to acquire such. And I don't even think that that word is right there. Acquire such. I lack the funds and skills needed to acquire such. I just don't think that that line is correct. Something about it feels wrong, like word choice. So she argues with her mom about not finding a husband yet again, except she says to her mom, well, I may have found someone, and just lies to get her off her back. And then she walks out of her house, and I'm so serious, immediately runs into the guy she's gonna marry. And this is such an awkward conversation where she calls him sir like 18 times. That's an over-exaggeration. I slam into what feels like a solid wall. My cheeks flush at his amber eyes speckled with gold. They would be captivating, but his smug expression is enough for my senses to snap back into place. Can I help you? I huff. This cannot be happening. I believe you bumped into me, miss. He tips his hat to me, and I rolled my eyes. Fine, I apologize. Good day. I have no idea why she was so rude to him. She did literally bump into him. It was like it was there just for her to be like, I'm sassy, and he is like a little bit sarcastic. Maybe, I guess, he looks smug, but then he's like actually really nice. Like, we're not doing any, like, give us nothing, as the youths say. Go girl, give us nothing. So then she's walking away, and he is walking after her. It's not proper to follow a lady. An easy transgression to forgive, since you and I will soon be married. I believe we can solve each other's problems. What makes you think I have a problem? Besides your attitude. Suddenly she's feeling like really annoyed, and it says, the volume of my skirt feels heavy and I just want to be alone. Then why did you leave the house? Where were you even going? Reasons you and I are getting married. 1, I am the hieress of a temple, and my patron insists that I find a mate. His patron's literally the queen. I don't understand this setup. She likes her priest to understand the importance of having a family. 2, you need to get your parents off your back. And he only knows this because apparently her and her mom were having this discussion right outside of her house, loud enough for him to hear. Okay, I guess. I don't know how that's possible. So he's like, you marry me, the temple's on the royal estate. That's the home that we would share. I'm even allotted a decorating fund. He's like, you don't have to have children. You would have countless free hours in your day to use however you see fit. The only romance needed would be convincing others that we are in love. And I'm like, wait, why do you have to convince others that you're in love? Why? And she just walks away without saying anything and thinks to herself, Alana will know what to make of this. So Alina. She goes to talk to her best friend, Alina. It says, as I arrive on Alina's doorstep, a steady bead of sweat is trickling down my neck. This girl is always sweaty, which was like very relatable. It's the only thing that I was like, oh, that's nice. It's nice to have a sweaty bitch for once. Nobody's ever sweaty. Make your bitches sweaty. So her friend Alina says to her, I got proposed to. And our girl Della's like, I also got proposed to. A family friend came to visit, says Alina. Gael Darrow. He is the hieress for the Temple of Pier and is looking for a wife. And I'm like, at this point, I would say, if I were Della, I also got proposed to by a hieress of the temple. But I guess she just fucking forgot that he said that? He literally said that 5 seconds ago? And Alina's parents really wanted her to do this, but she said no. Her and Gael have been friends for years, but she's not into men. And then the book says, I tell her everything, the fight with his mother. And I looked at this for like a solid 2 minutes before I realized that I didn't miss anything. It was supposed to say my mother. Anyway, the fight with my mother, as well as every rude and audacious word that left his supple lips. I am not marrying this man, not with his oozing arrogance, nor his charming smile. His clever words will not distract me from his reeking entitlement. What reeking entitlement? What? What are we talking about? That never happened. Alina asked, what does he look like? He was tall with rich tawny skin. His hair was dark brown with short tight curls on the top. His eyes were the most lustrous amber. And Alina's like, oh, that's Gael Darrow. And I believe he may have proposed to both of us on the same day. I cannot believe I didn't put it together when you mentioned your mystery man is a hieress as well. Me neither. That feels fucking impossible to me. There are only so many temple priests running around the town proposing to people. Oh boy. Also, so this is her oldest friend, but also she and Della are best friends, but this guy has never come up, or they've never met. And for some reason, these girls just burst into riotous laughter at the end of this chapter. I don't fucking know. Della does let slip in chapter 3 that she is also bisexual. And they go to a ball and everybody's there, including the guy, but also including the heir to the Fire Throne, Drea Ignis, which is a ridiculous name. And I couldn't figure out what was going on here, but it says that her best friend Alina and Drea Ignis, the princess, take to the dance floor and come to a startled halt. The passion in Alina's eyes could easily be mistaken for daggers if I didn't know my friend so well. Alina's frustration with the fire heir have been bubbling over, and I am certain she will make a spectacle of herself if she is not careful. Now, I was confused about this, and the thing about this particular book is that it's in a set of books where you should be able to read them on their own, but it is technically like part of like a series with different authors all writing within the same world. But I don't think that Alina and Drea are in a different book and that we have more context to what the fuck is going on here. I have no idea. Because like this author also wrote for this other wrap up of like books within a series that a bunch of different authors contributed to. And I read one, not by River, whatever her last name is, but it was The Sacrifice and the Spare. That was also part of it. But like this, The Sacrifice and the Spare is its own book. It's just part of this like bind up of different books. So it should be like, they should be able to stand on their own. But I don't know. There was a lot of things where I'm like, am I lacking context? What's happening here? So Gael, the Gael is there, and her mother is like, why don't you two dance?
Mr. Collins.
Perhaps you will do me the honor, Miss Elizabeth.
I do not know why you waste your affections on me when there is an abundance of beautiful women here who would happily dance with and wed you. Those women, well, they will want me to be a proper husband, devoted, doting. They will desire children. I want a quiet life where I can fully devote myself to the Temple of Peer. The Queen's insistence on me marrying is the only reason I am entertaining the notion. And she hears people whispering about them saying, he can do so much better, he'll tire of her. Again, I don't know what context there is for this. Like, is Della seen as like a tiresome girl? Is he seen as better than her? I have no context. But she's like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's get married. So they're going to get married. Her and Alina, her friend, are talking. And Alina's like, maybe, I don't know, maybe something will come of this. Maybe you'll fall in love. He does not feel that way for me, nor I him. I am not looking for that. And searching for it in a situation like this is folly. Why? Why is it folly? Can I have a crumb of context, please? Does your mother know that it is a fake relationship? Of course not. You're the only person who's aware, and I implore you to keep it that way. Why? Why can't you guys just enter into a marriage of convenience? Why does it have to be love? Again, it's fine if that's the answer, just I need some context. So it mentions that Della's siblings and their spouses are at the wedding, and I was like, Della has siblings? Since when? But Gael's side is empty. He has no family. Okay. And it says, it all happened so fast. The vows, the rings. It is happening fast. The way that I think marriage of convenience like this works better is, first of all, don't pass it off that they have to be in love. And I think that the best thing would have been to have it be arranged and have them open this book at the wedding like we did with, now I didn't love Bride, I didn't hate it either, I didn't love Bride, but I think it was smart to open it at the wedding. And another book that kind of does this is Grace Draven's book, where this is like a political marriage. I think that we would have saved a lot of time and saved us a lot of like questioning and wondering what the fuck is going on if we had just started at the wedding. But we didn't. Now we're in chapter 4 and they're getting married. With the grace granted by the elemental deities, the who? I now declare you to be wedded dragons. They're considered dragons, but they're in human form. They have never shifted. Please seal the bond of your union with a kiss. So they have to move to the capital I guess. And after they move there, she's expected to sometimes like go with him to meet with the queen. But she's like a townie. She's like a townie where she, you know, just little town, it's a quiet village type shit. So she's like running around in the mud before she has to go meet the queen. There's still so much time to kill before she meets the queen. And a small overgrown path catches my attention. I can practically hear my dress begging me not to follow. We could have done better with that line. Shall I reduce it to tatters? My lips quirk in slight amusement. Why? What's funny? Did I miss the joke? Sometimes I just miss like things, but I feel like this isn't a me thing. But I do proceed down the path, and I have tears in my skirt to prove it. I really should not have come this way, but it was calling to my soul, picking at my curiosity. Picking? Is that right? I don't feel like that was the word we're looking for. Are we talking about piquing curiosity? Because that's a different word. Anyway, she finds a tree and suddenly she's like overcome with emotion. It's only a tree. What's happening? Does it recognize my meager earth magic? It was at this point that I remembered she even had earth magic. But her magic isn't much to speak of. Like it's basically nothing, which has been like always an embarrassment. So she does go to meet with the queen after finding this beautiful clearing that she feels calls to her magic within. She goes to meet with the queen and she's told, don't sit on this couch, but then she specifically sits on the couch because she's like, I want to know what a royal couch feels like, and sits on it. And then the queen comes in and immediately does not like her. And I was like, wait, is this supposed to be, you know, Pride and Prejudice?
You selfish girl.
You are not terrible to look at, but to be unwed and unmated at your age, my dear, I have to wonder what is wrong with you. I don't know what mated means in this book's context. I don't know what the difference between unwed and unmated is. Again, they are not shifting into dragons, so it's not like I guess maybe it's a dragon thing, but I don't know. They seem so detached from their dragon side. So she's like, I have to wonder what is wrong with you that you have never been married. I am simply picky. So obviously the meeting with the queen does not go well. The queen is not very nice because the queen is just modeled after, what is this lady's name? Lady Catherine. In the relationship between her and Gael, things are going fine. They are just sort of like hanging out. They have separate bedrooms. They're more like nice roommates. But every time our hands brush when reaching for a biscuit or a cup at breakfast sends a jolt through my whole body that takes everything in me to conceal. Is this a hand flex moment? But then it said, Gael stabs a seasoned potato with his fork and I fail to suppress a small giggle, catching his attention.
What a superbly featured room, and what excellent boiled potatoes.
How do you eat boiled potatoes every day? Do you not tire of them? His brow furrows. I do not see a problem. They are an exemplary vegetable.
Many years since I've had such an exemplary vegetable.
Oh, brother. Now, in the previous chapter, when she met with the king, with the queen, it didn't super go well. And she like sends up a prayer to each of the elemental gods, but especially Pyr, that it will be enough of an explanation that she was simply picky and that's why she didn't previously get married. But now, in a conversation with her husband in the next scene, it says, religion has never been something I cared too much about. I believe in the gods, as where else would our magic come from? And I'm like, wait, didn't you just pray? So like you leaned on them for emotional comfort like a second ago, but now you're saying you're not very religious. I don't know. I never knew much about the history of the elemental temples and the gods they serve. Aren't you 350 years old? The origins of our world were lost to us. We have no recorded history past the last 300 years. Okay, but then like, so that would have left another, I'm really bad at math, but then like your grandparents didn't record any history and like they lived a really long time, assumedly. And so of your parents are assumedly like twice your age. So wouldn't they just have been recording the history? I'm confused. The four elemental dragon gods, Pyr, Gi, Eras, and Vepo, rebuilt the world and our society into what it is today. Their heirs currently hold the thrones for each element. Okay, that's cool. I like that. I wish we did a little bit more with it. So he says, I have to go visit with the queen today because her magic sputtered and she was unable to consistently call on her flames this morning. So like magic is getting wonky and they're not sure why. She decides that she wants to do something and be of use. So she goes and like takes care of magical artifact. And one of them is this like porcelain flower that feels very familiar to her. And suddenly she hears voices in her head saying, Lanthea, you have to go. Do not let go of your sisters. Promise me. My eyes fly open and I spin around searching for the source of the voice. The one I know I've heard before. Am I remembering a dream? And then she just doesn't think about this again. The last object is a gem-encrusted book. The oranges, reds of the reds of the jewels sparkling in the light of the braziers on the wall. Oh boy. Okay, so this sentence is like just it's wonky. So we have like an overuse of prepositions for no reason, but also we didn't need a comma after the word oranges. The last object is a gem-encrusted book, comma, the oranges and reds of the jewels sparkling. We can honestly like take out of the braziers on the wall and just say sparkling period or sparkling in the light. The Tome of Origin, only to ever be opened by the Hierarchs or the ruling monarch, contains the ancestry and the lineage of the royal fire dragon. So she's like, well, Gael can open this book, but I'm not sure if my honorary status as his wife allows me to open it. I don't really know what the point of the book was. I think it just sort of falls off the map in this book. The book falls off the map of the book. She's like annoyed that she can't open it. I'm not sure if this was like her dragon instincts kicking in. My fingers caress the stones on the cover as I yearn not only to open the book, but to keep it, take it back to my room and pluck the gems off one by one. My nostrils flare with my temper as my baser instincts creep into the edges of my mind. Again, I don't know if I'm like scarred from Age of Scorpius, but I'm just a little tired of prepositional phrases. Alina is going to come visit Della, so that'll be fun. Girls' Day. And also, there's been trouble with not only the Queen's magic, but now people are reporting powers with, like, the common people are reporting powers with their magic as well. The public is in a panic. Stores are running out of essential items as some citizens fear the end of the world is upon us. That feels like a jump, but okay. And meanwhile, Gael calls her my dear. Is that merely a platonic term of affection that he deems should be given to a spouse? Am I dear to him? This feels like another reference to Pride and Prejudice.
How are you this evening, my dear?
Very well.
I am certain it is platonic affection combined with his appreciation for my participation in our sham marriage. Is it a sham, though? What a weird question. She then describes a room in the most wackadoodle way possible. Well, not a room, like there's carvings inside of a room. There are 4 dragons standing at the bottom with a single dragon at the top. The 4 dragons standing together have each a line going to the single dragon. One of the dragons is covered in flames, with those flames traveling up the line to the top dragon. One dragon has vines wrapped around it, and another dragon has next waves cresting at its feet. The last dragon has whirls of air spiraling around it, one dragon for each element, with those elements traveling up the lines. We just overused the same words over and over, but like especially the word dragon. The word dragon has lost all meaning to me. Her and Alina meet up. They're very excited to see each other, and she tells Alina, hey, I have found a spot. I have found a place that I love. Hidden away. It's my place to think. It's my solitude when I need fresh air. So she takes Alina for all of like 2 seconds, and Alina's like messing with her own power, which is water magic. And Della wishes that she had water magic. And I'm like, wait, why is that better? And then she mimics Alina's hand motion and she produces water. I'm like, wow, how incredibly convenient that you were just wishing for that power and now you have it. Della, what in the world? This is just part of the magical disruptions. I can't be the first person to have produced an element that is not my own. Anyways, they go to see the queen, and the queen is very rude, asking, how many of you are mated or married, regarding their siblings? You cannot all still be at home, can you? And I'm pretty sure that this is also literally straight out of Pride and Prejudice. Like, didn't Lady Catherine ask about all of the siblings being married, all of the sisters? She's specifically asking this of Alina. And I think Alina, at this point, I'm like, oh, is Alina supposed to be the Elizabeth in this? So Alina confirms we are all unmarried. None of us have yet been lucky enough to find a match that we deem worthy. Alina shoots another death glare at Liam, who drops his gaze to his lap, but the queen does not notice. And I'm like, what? So there's some guy named Liam, and there's something going on there, but I don't know what it is. I wasn't given any context. I should think your mother would have removed the choice from you. Imagine having your own daughter think they have a say in their marriage, Queen Enya says. My mother cares more about my happiness than if I have been arbitrarily paired off to make society happy. And I'm like, wasn't Alina's mom literally trying to convince her to marry Gael earlier in this book? Is that not literally what happened? I'm pretty sure it was. So, of course, the Lady Elizabeth of this book says, I see propriety also not very high on her list of priorities. I'm like, oh, we should not, I mean, I understand like the urge to put propriety and priorities next to each other like that, but it just throws me off. Use a different word. So dinner with the queen did not go well. Thinking later about the history of the world, our main character Della is like, I wonder why our history does not go all the way back to the point of our creation. Did all of the elemental nobles live in one capital? Was there a singular dragon like in the reliefs I saw when tending to the Hira? What? Where did we come from? Gaello's reading from one of the sacred texts in an effort to find a way to appease the magic of the land by reconnecting with it and our roots. And I'm like, but you just said you don't know what your roots are. His voice caresses my mind and lulls it into a peaceful state of bliss. But her bliss is short-lived because the queen is suddenly like, I cannot believe how unruly your friend is. It makes me question your judgment, if that is who you choose to associate with. How much more can I tolerate of this before I lose my temper? The queen says her mother should be ashamed of herself. In fact, I have half a mind to send her a summons and make her answer for her daughter. I'm like, wait, can you do that? Is that a thing here? But you guys like are pretending to be in love. So is it important to be in love or is it important to just be married? What are the priorities here? Della says that seems really harsh. You dare question me? You with your inferior breeding and homely manners?
Do you think it can be prevented by a young woman of inferior birth, whose own sister's elopement resulted in a scandalously patched-up marriage?
I cannot believe how much of a ripoff this is of Lady Catherine. I should have annulled your marriage after our first meeting. That man is the higheress of my temple. Don't you dare speak to my wife like that, Gael says. She is mine. Heat floods my core. Ma'am, you are in a public meeting with the queen. Please immediately relax. He does not mean it, but what if he does? You cannot speak to me this way, Queen Enya says. Gael says the only person who can strip me of my position is either Peer or Death, and Death is capitalized, so assumedly that's also a god, but they weren't mentioned earlier. I don't know. I'll throw you in the dungeons. You cannot. The temple must have a hieress, and the monarch is not allowed to meddle once they have been approved by the gods. Then why did she even say that in the first place? Do you think I do not know that this so-called union of yours has yet to be consummated? How would you possibly know that? How? I may not be able to remove you as higheress, but believe me, I can keep that girl out of my temple. She has to bone her husband in order to be in the temple? Is that a rule now? So Gael straight up yoinks this woman Della to his bedroom. I'm so sorry, we do not have to do this. I thought maybe you have been feeling it too, and it would remove the last thing that the queen can hold over us. You only want to be with me physically to thwart the queen, do I have that correct? No, my dear, you do not. I have wanted to touch you ever since the day you agreed to be my wife. That was not the arrangement you were looking for, but every brush of our hands, it is blissful agony that I simultaneously cannot get enough of and must shield myself from for protection. Is he playing me only to be cold tomorrow? Do I care? You probably should. I mean, don't you care? What is happening? So then he takes off her clothes. He takes off his clothes and it says that it said he had crescent-shaped scars on his chest, but I was thinking like, I didn't know what I was supposed to be picturing or like where. I thought we were talking about like multiple ones. And I was like, oh, that seems odd. Maybe that's a dragon thing. I don't know. It was not a dragon thing. It was not a dragon thing at all. We spend an awful lot of time discussing what clothes they are wearing, just an awful lot of time. Like every button on his shirt gets removed, well, gets like undone. It says he has semicircle shaped scars on his pecs. So it didn't say under, it said on his pecs. So I was thinking like up here. No, we'll come back to that. I prayed for Peer to find the right wife for me, someone who would fit in with my lifestyle and with me. Never could I have dreamed that you would be that and so much more. She calls him her husband. He says, say it again. And he takes her to bed and then I'm just going to read it. He walks over to his dresser. After rummaging around for a few moments, he comes back over with several items in his hands. I watch intently as he removes his pants and tosses them aside. I keep watching as he slips the harness over his legs, securing it at his hips. The phallus that is attached to it is bigger than I expect, and I raise my eyebrows in surprise. And I was like, wait, this is a trans man? Oh! Point in the book's favor. Like, he was a pretty green flag guy. Now he's like a super green flag guy. It was at this point, I had not been having a good time with this book, but I raised this book from a 1 to a 2 just to be a dick to this person in my comments who was trying to justify wanting to ban books just because they say trans on the cover. That's for you, big guy. He's trans and he has this harness on, and he says, "Is this all right? We don't have to." She says, "I've never wanted to do anything more in my life. When his mouth meets my center, I nearly jump off the bed." He is an air dragon. I don't know what that means, but I guess that somehow when he's downstairs in this region with his head, air is being used. I don't know. Is he like filling her up like a balloon? Who knows? But then he comes back up from, between her downstairs. They, with his strap. And she finishes, it says, "A shrill cry leaves me as my body reaches its crescendo." So it takes a little bit for this to get explained, but it turns out that he is a giver and like never a receiver. He's not interested in being touched that way. When she wakes up, the bed is empty. It turns out that they had done the Dance of the Dragons 3 times that night. And even still, she said, "Gael was likely just consummating our union to spite the monarch." Babe, 3 times. Thrice? Maybe after the second time for good measure, but thrice, I think he's just into you. As my tender body slips into the tub and the water caresses my skin, I send up a silent thought of thanks to the water dragons who figured out running water decades ago. And I'm like, what? Do they have to be dragons? I mean, like, for all I know, fucking Mario lives up in here. Why? I don't understand. Like, just say thanks to the plumbers. They're not even dragons. They don't even shift. So he comes back. He's like, "I was hoping to be here before you woke up, but I brought you flowers." And she's like, "Where'd you find these?" He says, "I found them in this clearing. I've never seen these before." She says, "Show me." So he brings her to that secret spot in the woods that she's been going to. Also, it turns out he had gone to the queen and been like, "You trying to tell me that my marriage is invalid for no consummation is now not a thing because we consummated." And like, good for him. Go off, king. He tells her he's been looking into these flowers that he brought her that are in that clearing, and they are called galanthus. There's only one mention of it in the text I've read. There's very little information on it, and the language is older than any I have ever come across. The only word that was legible in a language I am familiar with is elixir. I didn't understand this sentence at all. So then she puts her hands in the soil. Energy pulses through the soil, coming off the flowers in waves. I detect traces of energy from all 4 elements weaving together into the root system. And so then she eats one of the flowers randomly, and then she can use all 4 elements. I don't know. A flower that grants us the power of multiple elements, possibly all of them. And she's like, "Yeah, but also yesterday I used water magic without having eaten the flower." And he says, "It's you. You are the one who will bring us home." What are you talking about? "There's a series of tunnels beneath the temple and catacombs, and in them I have found texts that I've been trying to translate. They are where I found the images of the galanthus flower. When the magic comes home, so too shall the dragon. I've been having dreams. A choir of voices comes to me at night, whispering to find her, bring the dragons home. The gods have guided me to you for a reason, Della." And then suddenly there is an earthquake. So they race back to the temple. And then a week goes by, which is like jump to a week. "The dragons have never known anything besides peace. Many theorize that is the reason why we no longer have control over our dragon forms." See, that would be cool if we did anything with it. And they're told, "Hey, Princess Drea Ignis, has shifted into her dragon form." And also randomly we're told that Alina, Della's best friend, Alina's younger sister Finley, ran off with Evan Winters, whom everyone knows the princess loathes. And I'm like, oh my God, is this totally Lydia and Mr. Wickham? Wow, fascinating. Finley, who's like a younger sister to me. What? She has never come up before. What are you talking about? Alina was besides herself with worry. She got the news while traveling with her family near the princess's estate. Oh, she was traveling with family when she found out the news that her sister had eloped. Gee, where have I seen this before? So it turns out that Drea, the princess, raced to go find Finley and Evan so passionately that she shifted. So I guess Drea is Mr. Darcy in this scenario. But now Finley is home safe. Della says, "I need to go see Alina and the Ash Bluff." Gael says, "Well, I could escort you." And she says, "My love, I cannot take you away from your research." And she's like, oh my God, I said my love. That's like so crazy, right? "I never could have dreamed that I would be lucky enough to have my love for you returned." I gasp, spinning around to face him. They start making out, but they're interrupted. because she gets a letter saying that Alina and Princess Drea have requested a private wedding ceremony here in the temple, and they've asked for Gael to officiate it. Never could I have dreamed that she would marry a princess. The ceremony is quick, as mine and Gael's had been. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that we're just like rushing through the good bit. Nothing, clearly. Drea, the princess, has not shifted since she did that one time. I don't know how I did it. Adrenaline? A fluke? They don't want to tell the queen that they've been married, and they're like, can you guys just not say anything until we're back from our honeymoon, which seems like a fucking terrible idea. After this, Della and Gael go home, and he boinks her on the table. He had to move all the plates and stuff. Whimpers form on my lips and fall away as waves of pleasure crest throughout my body, ebbing and flowing into a riptide. Actually, ebbing and flowing and like cresting and what waves of pleasure is exactly the language that we used in the last spicy scene. So there's like a lot of repetition, which is something that I don't like. Plates clatter, some falling to the ground and breaking as my cries of pleasure turn into climactic screams. Every second is incandescent agony. That was a much better use of the table, in my opinion. I could eat you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, little flower. Oh, good. The nicknames have begun. In the next chapter, it says, tensions in the realm are unbearably high as the magical disruptions increase. There have been no more earthquakes thus far, but reports have been flying in of burglaries, assaults, and all kinds of primal behavior that has never been seen in our society. People are doing burglaries because magic, I guess. She starts to hear a voice again. You're so close. You can do this, child. She doesn't really investigate this. And then Gael is attacked in the sanctuary of the temple by people who are stealing anything shiny. I don't know if this is because they're dragons or just because people are panic burglaring, or I don't know. And she just straight up kills a guy. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she has absolutely no feelings about this whatsoever. After she kills a guy, he stares at her like her husband, stares at her like she's a lost prophet, a holy goddess sent from the heavens solely for him to worship. Will you accompany me upstairs so I can take off every scrap of clothing and spend an eternity learning every square inch of your body? I want to chart the constellations in your freckles, the guiding stars that will always lead me home. You are my home, Della Annalise, my little flower. Every time he calls me by that nickname, it feels like ancient magic is stirring in my soul. I mean, it's only been twice, so. But before he can take her upstairs and eat her flower, she hears, Galanthea, do not let go of your sisters. There isn't much time. The woman's voice is so familiar. Who is she? Mama, I'm scared. So it turns out she's passed out and she sees a memory. This woman is my mother. Too entranced to think about the implications in my present day life, I hang on every word she says. I don't feel like you're too entranced to think about it because you just mentioned it. You have to go through the portal with Demetrios. Then a woman approaches from behind her mother, and this is Athena. And her mother says, leave them alone, Athena. You have me, you have Kronos. And I'm like, wait, are these the fucking Greek gods? What the fuck is happening? Her voice is so wicked. Dear sister, that is not for you to decide. How can this woman be related to my mother? Well, you don't know either of these people. My aunt looks like she would just as easily throw us into the depths of the underworld as she would toss away dinner scraps. Wait, so is this the current you or past you? Isn't death a place, but then it's the underworld now? Okay, anyway. Her mother turns back to her and her siblings. Lanthea, Lyra, Corey, I love the three of you more than you will know. You have to go. She shoves us into a swirling vortex, but then her sisters go back because they don't want to leave their mom. Before I can stop it, our connection is broken, and the last I see of any of my family before landing in another stone circle at the base of my willow tree is my sister's terrified face. So that tree is, I guess, where she landed when she came through a vortex. Was that a dream, a prophecy? Do I have sisters? Are we not from this world? Drea and Alina show back up, and Queen Enya is upset with them. When the alarming reports reached me that you had been spotted with this commoner with her bad manners and low breeding, with a wedding ring no less, I did not believe it to be true for an instant. I told them my daughter would never be so disrespectful and ungrateful as to taint the Ignis line with such actions. You wish to unravel every thread of family pride that has carefully been woven into the tapestries of our very existence. That just feels like an overwritten sentence. How dare you? Mother, you need to leave, says Drea. You will all be sorry when you're rotting in the dungeons, the queen says. Then there is yet another earthquake and the temple collapses. Everybody's looking for the queen, and they go to the bathing, well, it should say chambers, but it says the bathing champers. This chapter didn't seem to have been edited by the author. The stream of hot water running from the faucet above my head kisses my aching muscles. I guess they decided to take a bath even though the queen's missing. The queen was nowhere to be seen, which was met with sighs of relief all around. What? This is also a tense change, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not an editor. Anyway, Gael washes her hair and then they fool around. This is when he explains to her, I don't like to be intimately touched. My entire life, I have genuinely been content to spend my days reading, conducting my research. Romance has never meant as much to me as it meant to my peers. I think that's why the queen insisted I marry. She has always been much too worried that I will end up alone. But isn't it like societal? So was it like personal worry or societal? I don't understand. And she's like, oh, well, if you don't want to be intimately touched, that's fine. I want you in whatever way you will have me. Now, I like this. I liked like them two. I like that, like, at least it's like a different dynamic than you normally see in these books. But also, the rest of the book was so poorly done that I really had no choice but to be like, even so, I still have to give this 1.5 stars. Like, I'll give it the half star for the queer relationship that is normal or normalized, but the rest of it is so bad. So Princess Drea gets sworn in as the fire monarch because they still can't find Queen Enya. Oh no. The ceremony is quick and somber. Oh my god, another quick ceremony? That's 3 in one book. They're running around literally just like calling out for the queen. Enya, where are you? And then randomly she heads towards her tree. She takes off in a sprint. I freeze as I see someone on the ground in the circle. They are wearing long flowing robes. As feathers fall from within their robes, they ask, Dior? Deoir. And then the book ends. I'm not kidding. That's where it ended. Like this just ended. Now, again, there are a bunch of books in the Bound by Flame novella series, but each one should stand on their own. This didn't do anything. And I was like, did I miss something? The other reviews also complained about this. Now, this is, again, something that happened in League of Liars by Astrid Schulte. And like, it wasn't even announced whether or not it was getting a lot of us didn't know if this was getting a sequel. And it ended so abruptly in a way that simply did not make sense and did not need to happen. That's exactly what happened here. I don't think that we're going to get any answers about anything. I guess she was a Greek goddess, but also she was a dragon. I don't know. I think that just like with a couple simple changes, we could have made this into something like enjoyable and good. Again, I really like the fact that there's queer rep in here and that it was just like accepted. It wasn't like a whole issue. I enjoy having a what seems to be a pansexual main character. I'm pan myself, so yay for that. But then we didn't do anything, and a lot of what we did just didn't make any sense. Like, it just seemed like something that we wrote while we were half asleep. Again, sometimes you can find a gem by just looking around and finding like a random thing you've never heard of to read. This is not one of those cases. One of those cases is one of the Amazon short stories, the one by Tamsin Muir. I read that randomly, and that was 5 stars. But it's like a contained story, and it ends with a, gee, I wonder what happened next, but you have all your questions answered. This doesn't answer any questions, didn't make a lot of sense. It just like ran out of time, I guess. But it was 100 pages. Like, we didn't need to do it like this. We wasted time explaining what people were wearing. The sequence of events is what really threw us off. I think we should have started with them being forced into a marriage. Maybe have her be interested in his research. The River Has Roots is 125 or 130 pages, and that does a really good job with its page count. If you just added even like 10 to 15 more pages of this and just switched around the series of events and also took out like the desperate need to shove in Pride and Prejudice references in here, I think that we could have had something. Even with the, secretly they're dragons, but also Greek characters, gods, mythical people. Like, we could have done it. I'm not really good with Greek mythology, so I wouldn't know how to do that, but we could have done it. It's just, we just sort of like threw everything in here and then just sort of gave up on it is how it felt. So 1.5 stars for that. Not good. If you made it this far, you can leave a flower emoji down below for the little flower. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Comments and questions go down below, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hi, before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons, and those are Alexander, Ashley H, Beck, Call Me Kodiak, Choco's Homesick for Taiwan, DJ Rocktopus, Ellie, Emerald Dodge, Eric D, Jade, Jill, John E, Jory, Julie, Kai Brecker has not read Six of Crows, Kalaine OK, Katya, Quinn, Lady Kittybug, Lady Chips Loves Pride, Lemon Jelly, Lex, Other Lex, Lily, Maddie Miss, Megwin Rose, Melissa, Mixer Boneless, Not So Secretly a Skeleton, Peggy Lou Who, Piloting SRN, Rain, Ree, SJ, Samar, Scarlet, Steph B, 3 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Urchin Audrey, and White Raven 13. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend. Huge thank you to my Potato Starch Marxist patrons, Aaron, Alejandra, Alicia, Bobisha, Banana, Fofana, Fofisha. What are we doing, Alicia? Althea, Amanda D, Andy, Angelica, Artie the Ninth, Ava, Barry, Baywing, Beck, Blue Moon Syrup, Bookish by Jenna, Bookish Rabbit, Bridget 108, Kate B, Caitlin, Carlin, Carly, Casper, Kate, Kathy, Celeste, Che, Cole, Colleen, Corwin, Cosmic Frog, Courtney, Darius, Danielle, Danita, Darren, Desiree Michelle, Dilf Enthusiast, Dorothea Supports Public Education, Draco-chan, Drive-By Thinker, Ebby, Emma, Aaron with 2 E's, Erica May, Aaron Starlight, Fox Waifu, Francis, Gadarn, Hannah C, Helen P, Hurry Singh, JM Tennant, Jackalope Max, Jay is on Olympus, Jelly V, Jen Michelle, Genderqueer, Jenny G, Jesse Ives, Jessa Sue, Jojo Bookish, Juicy Wizard, Caitlin M, Katie L, Katrina, Kayla, Kaylee, Kayala, Kendra, Kiara, KMTV, Kayana, Laughing Cat Dog, Laura is Angry, Lauren G, Lazarus Ray, Lindsay M, LP, Lou Siri, Lustful Octopus, Martin, Mataraptor, Madison, Man-Eating Plant, Megan, Malara, Mima Who, Morgan the Friendly Ghost, Myth Lesbian, NM Rap, Natural Blues, Nicole G, Paige P, Penelope, Penny Chilling, Foxglove, Pick a God and Pray, Plague Carrier, Pandemonium, Queen Cereal, Rach, Rachel B, Rebecca, Rebecca R, Ren Flynn, Rhea, Reese, Ronnie, Rosie, Sikoria, Saintbringer, Sakya Lume, Sarah H, Sarah the Bear, Shamed, Shannon, Sheen Onion, Sean, Sophie, Talia, That One Cute Chick, This Is Not a Trap, Too Thick to Work Tomorrow, Triple M, Tito Phoenix, and Unicorn Jenny. Thank you all so much for being a friend.